Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I asked you guys to give me your top assumptions on what you think the reality of van life looks like, and you guys did not hold back. There were a lot of really funny responses, a lot of curious responses, and some that I am honestly embarrassed to admit are true. I'm about to go through them, so if you're curious, watch this. Assumption number 1, van life is lonely. So that assumption I think is pretty fair and openly will say it's true. Like, I made a whole video on this topic. There's a difference between being alone and lonely though, and I think that there's so much beauty that comes through the solitude of van life, especially if you're doing it solo. You are really put in a position to decide what interests you, what is going to bring you joy. Like, that's what you're looking for when you're living the van life adventure. You are chasing your joy, right? Because you're not staying in one place for very long oftentimes. And if you are, then you are choosing that moment of joy for yourself in that space. There are moments where you do miss the community aspect of it because you are on the road. There are moments when you get FOMO when you see everybody attending that same event that you are not there to attend. But you learn to form new communities on the road, and that's the reality of it. You learn to embrace the value of that solitude, and you learn to embrace the value of turning strangers into your chosen family. So I think there's a lot of beauty that comes with van life and loneliness and solitude, but that assumption can be true. Van life can be lonely. Assumption number 2, you're always on vacation. It's got a bit of truth to it, but it's mostly not true. I live a life where I work remotely on the road. A lot of my days in my van life structure are centered around me getting my work meetings in, getting my projects done on time, and then I'll go spend my day out in nature. But a lot of my days are focused around planning my meetings, planning my schedule for the week, planning my routes and directions. I will say though, there is some truth to that, right? Because, for example, if I'm living in a house, then I'm set to that location. If I want to go for a hike in a park, I have to make an effort to travel to that state or travel to that location for that park. It separates me from the vacation of it, right? But when I'm in a van, yes, I'm working. Yes, I'm focusing on my priorities and responsibilities, but I also have the ability and permission to park outside a national park. Also invest in a national parks pass because it will get you places at a good price, and it's just a one-time yearly cost, so that's a tip. Assumption number 3, you can't date when you're living in a van. And I'll laugh at this one because I made a video on this. I don't think that's true at all. I think being in a van makes dating a little bit more complicated, but still very doable. It's all a matter of personal preference and honesty and open communication. I have met a lot of van lifers who have met people that are not van lifers and started dating them, and then they have run into the trouble of being in different places and different times and not being fully aligned with what they want. But on the other hand, it's a very possible thing if you are two people who are on the same page. So dating will look different for everyone, but it is possible. Living in a van doesn't have to limit you. There are ways to make it work between both of you, like planning weekend trips, and if you're the person in the van, being okay with staying in a certain place to nurture a relationship. That has helped, but it's ultimately your choice. Dating in van life is still very possible. Doesn't have to mean that you won't date at all. Assumption number 4, you're fearless. Yes, and so I would like to think that it is very brave of me to be traveling the world by myself, a telltale sign of an empowered woman, an empowered person. However, that does not mean I am not afraid sometimes. It takes a lot of inner courage to get past the fear, but I also know that if I don't get past the fear, then I'm only limiting myself and holding myself back from true happiness. So there's lots of moments where I'm driving, and I grew up in Florida. So for me, especially driving in places where there's mountains or steep hills and learning how to drive in those conditions, especially such a large vehicle, was pretty scary. My van is really heavy, it's really loaded, and sometimes going up hills, it needs more time and patience, and there are moments where I'm like, I don't want to stress out my engine too much because I've had problems with it before. And so there's that fear in those moments of I need to make sure I'm treating my house and vehicle the right way. Also fears of when I'm in places alone. I usually feel the most safe when I'm out in nature completely and there's no one around. But I remember when I first started, and even sometimes now, if I'm out there too long, I start to get a little bit paranoid. What if this is a place where people just come and party or something happens to me? Those thoughts still cross my mind. They're never not going to be there, I think. But it's more so about the way that I push through that fear with my inner courage, with my inner knowing, with my inner trust to get myself out of any situation. So I'm pretty fearless, but sometimes fear still happens. Assumption number 5. Van life is so cheap. Ha 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 ha. I will laugh at this because I can see how it is maybe more affordable than renting or buying, but it's still pretty expensive. There's maintenance costs on your vehicle, the purchase of the vehicle itself, the purchase of everything you need for the build. There's still groceries required, parts required, emergencies that come up, and gear that breaks that you need to replace. Those things are very real, especially if you're living an active van life, or so many times where my van got stuck in situations where I needed AAA or needed to call someone to come pull me out, and that took away from my emergency funds. There is a way to make living in a van affordable. Van life can be made cheap, but cheap things never last. So you want to make sure that you're investing in the right things and recognize that you're still going to have living expenses, maintenance expenses, and you still want to have that emergency cushion that you would in any other living situation. Assumption number 6. You live in a van, so you don't really care about your beauty routine or your health or what you look like every day. That is really dependent on the person. You can see me now, I like to brush my hair and I like to do my makeup and dress in clothes that make me feel comfortable and confident. However, there are days where I just stay home. Oftentimes, more than not, I'm wearing the same clothes. I will switch from my pajamas to my day clothes, and it does go like that for a few days, and that makes it easier for me to not have to worry about laundry, feel comfortable, and makes my day happen faster because I'm not having to think about it. But that doesn't mean I'm not choosing to be stylish. I still make it a priority to have self-care. Every night I'll wash my face, floss, brush my teeth, scrape my tongue, take care of me, put on my night creams, moisturize my body. Those are all my personal preferences. And I think when you are living in a van, you're more exposed to the elements. So if you are someone who wants to take care of your skin, like for example, I get a lot of sun because I'm basically living outside. So I get a lot of sun exposure, and I have seen my skin respond to that sun exposure through wrinkles that I probably could have avoided if I was indoors most of the time. So I make it an active part of my routine to wear sunscreen and protect my skin, my tattoos, my body in more ways than I would have if I was living in a house. Because I think that if you are in a single place and you have that shelter and protection from the elements, then you don't really have to worry about it as much. But if you're constantly being hit 24/7 with the elements, it's gonna impact you. So it's all a matter of choice. As for being stylish in what I choose to wear and how I choose to present myself, I would say that for a majority of my van life, I was more of like that sporty, bummy kind of girl. My lifestyle is very active. I was climbing every day, hiking every day, or surfing every day. And so it was just a lot easier to hop out of the ocean, give myself a rinse, put on comfortable clothes, and call it a day, and then just go into my working routine. Or wear my climbing clothes all day because I know I'm gonna hop back into it after. So things like that, I was styling myself in a way that was geared towards my lifestyle. But I also learned that if I style myself, I feel more confident. For me, that's just my preference, but it is very easy to just wear sweatpants or sweatshirt every day. And I've been through that phase too. Assumptions, partially true, however, highly depends on the person. Assumption number 7, you don't shower. That is a very common assumption. I think that is the number one question I get from people who are curious about van life. They're always wanting to know how I shower and do I shower. This lifestyle can be very cringy. I know a lot of dudes who just rely on dude wipes and that's okay for them. For me, showers are very important. Feeling like I cleanse my body every day is really important. I oftentimes will go to gyms like Planet Fitness and get my workout in, get my shower in. More than not, I shower every single day. I made it a priority for myself, and I have a built-in outdoor shower in the back of my van. If I can't find a proper shower or I'm concerned about my water levels, I will do an ocean dip or like a river dip and cleanse myself briefly. Those are more rare for me, but if I need to get my body refreshed, nothing wrong with that in my book. I don't think I've ever been like completely grungy van life where I haven't showered for more than like 2 days, but it's definitely a part of the lifestyle. Like it's a very real thing, and some people don't like to shower as much, and that's completely okay. That's their choice. Assumption number 8. It's all sunshines and rainbows and vacations and everything is always good. Everything is always adventure. This assumption for those people who really don't share the full realities of van life. There are so many beautiful Instagram videos and moments of people sharing their experiences out in nature on beautiful hikes and beautiful desolate parks with their vans, and that looks so cool and fun. And it can be. However, there are parts in between those things. Driving to those beautiful remote places can be sketchy. You can get stuck. You can get flat tires. You can break down. And that's a stress that comes with getting to those beautiful, super remote places. For me, that's a big stress. It's not always sunshine. There are days where it's continuously rainy for many days, or it's super hot or super cold. If it's really hot, especially for me, I have a puppy, I choose to not spend those extremely hot days in my van. I follow the weather patterns and find colder locations so that we can both be comfortable. But in those days where I do have to deal with these weather conditions, I find ways to entertain both of us. So we'll go sit in coffee shops, walk through places like the mall. It's also a bit harder because not all places are pet friendly. So it's a lot of consideration, not just my own lifestyle and how I take care of myself, but how I'm choosing to take care of my little puppy. Sometimes that can feel really stressful, but that does a great job of bringing you into presence because you're literally forced to take care of the right nows. Yeah, you have to be really quick on your feet. You have to be really resilient and bold enough to just either go for it or receive the consequences that come with going for it. So those were the main assumptions, and then I did get a lot of common ones that are very simple, like you sleep in Walmart parking lots a lot. Yes or no, true or false? For me, that's false. True or false, you eat canned food every day. I don't eat canned food every day. I cook most of my food fresh. I love eating for my health. You never get scared. I get scared all the time. I'm a scaredy cat. I'm a crybaby. That's false. You have no routine. I thrive off of routine. As a highly anxious person, routine is what I crave. Structure is what I crave. So in order for me to be happy, especially in a van life where life is more unpredictable, I need a routine. You meet tons of people. This one can be true, but also it's a personal preference. I meet tons of people, like I see tons of people every day. I say hi to strangers, but I don't build deep connections with just everyone. So yes, I'm around a lot of people and I might engage briefly with a lot of people, but that doesn't mean I'm developing deep relationships with a lot of people. It's hard to be a woman on the road. A lot of times people are underestimating you. There's a lot more safety concerns because you are alone, but I think it's all a matter of how you present yourself and how you carry yourself. Your confidence is what's going to get you through a situation. Your ability to speak up for yourself in a situation and take care of yourself and voice for yourself when you are uncomfortable. And trusting that gut feeling is what's going to keep you safe. I think it really depends on who you are and how you bring awareness to situations. Just try your best and trust those gut instincts. So those are the assumptions that came through. I know it's been a while since I posted a full-length video. To be completely transparent, I've been spending more time with my family in Florida, and so traveling in my van hasn't been as fluid as it used to be. There are a few trips that I'm continuing to plan and work through, but I'm dealing with a lot of family things that need me to be grounded for this season, and I've really been struggling with the lack of adventure. It is a big part of my life. It's a part of my life that I'm not really ready to release. So I'm learning to flow with the different interactions of me being in my van for just weekends instead of full time. So yeah, thank you guys for showing up and for supporting these videos. I am so grateful to have you here and grateful to be able to share my experiences with you. If there were any assumptions that stood out to you or any assumptions you have, I would be curious to hear them and tell you my truth on them. Just let me know in the comments. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.